All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are going deep into world history.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Ancient times all the way to, I guess what we would call like the beginnings of modern capitalism.
Yeah.
We've got a really cool source for this.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually a CSET study guide.
Okay.
Think of it more like a backstage pass
All right.
to history's greatest hits,
I like that.
packed with all those little aha moments
Yeah.
that'll make you the star of any trivia night.
Exactly. And, it's amazing how right from the start,
Yeah.
geography played such a huge role.
Yeah.
Our source looks at like 8 major ancient civilizations.
Oh, wow.
Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Kushite,
Okay.
Hebrew, Greek, Indian, Chinese, and Roman.
Gotcha.
Every single one. Their story is really all about how they adapted to their surroundings.
That makes sense. So,
Yeah.
first up then, we got Mesopotamia,
Okay?
the land between the rivers, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like they were
Yeah.
like flood management experts
That's a good way to put it.
way before their time.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
You got the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers.
Right.
Those could be unpredictable.
Oh, for sure.
But those floods also brought this super fertile soil,
So it's a
a trade-off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this led to like agriculture developing,
Makes sense.
which then allowed for cities to pop up and
Yeah.
more complex social structures to develop.
It's wild to think about like
I know.
some of the earliest writing that we know of,
Yeah.
like cuneiform,
Mm-hmm.
came from this region.
Exactly.
Probably because they needed a way to keep track of
Probably.
all the grain they were
I
harvesting.
like grain. Yeah.
And you know what? That's a perfect example
Yeah.
of how one civilization's invention can like totally ripple through time
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
influence others.
Absolutely.
Like a domino effect.
Yeah.
Just being able to record information
Mm-hmm.
and share knowledge more effectively.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
Totally. It's a good reminder that
What's that?
history is not just like a bunch of isolated events.
Yeah.
It's this web of interconnected developments.
It all ties together.
Yeah. And speaking of interconnectedness,
Okay.
we can't talk about Mesopotamia
Yeah.
without mentioning their impact on Egypt.
Oh, yeah. Egypt,
Yeah.
land of pharaohs and pyramids.
It's quite-
Pretty much everyone knows.
Yeah.
They were all about the Nile River.
Right.
But how did that actually shape their society?
Well, so the Nile's annual floods were so reliable that they like practically set the Egyptians' calendar.
Wow.
Like it was that predictable.
Wow.
And, this agricultural abundance meant that
Uh-huh.
not everybody had to be a farmer.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so you start to get scribes,
Right.
artisans, priests,
Yeah.
all contributing to this like
Yeah.
incredibly complex society.
And those pyramids.
Oh, the pyramids?
Yeah.
Those weren't just tombs.
What else were they?
They were these massive public works projects
Oh, wow.
that showed off the pharaoh's power,
Uh-huh.
and they also provided employment during the flood season.
So it was like a way to like keep people busy when they couldn't be farming.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So the Nile wasn't just a source of water.
It was like the engine of their entire civilization.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Egypt, though,
Yeah.
we can't forget about Kush to their south.
No, definitely not.
Kush kind of gets overshadowed a lot,
Yeah, they do.
but they were a powerhouse
Oh,
in
yeah.
their own right.
Totally.
Just imagine
Yeah.
they controlled this vast trade network
Mm-hmm.
connecting sub-Saharan Africa
Yeah.
with Egypt and beyond.
Totally.
Their land was rich in gold
Oh, yeah.
and other resources,
It was.
which they traded for goods
Yeah.
from all over the ancient world.
All over, that's right.
They even had their own distinct art styles
Yeah, it's really
and
nice.
burial practices
Oh.
influenced by Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely unique.
Their own thing.
So it's
yeah.
like
Yeah,
Kush was the ultimate ancient middleman.
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Bringing together
Together.
different parts of the world
Yeah.
through trade and cultural exchange.
Exactly.
Makes you wonder how much of their influence we still see today.
Right.
But before we go down that rabbit hole,
Sure.
what about the Hebrews?
Okay, yeah.
They weren't known
Not really.
for being a major empire
Right.
like some of these other civilizations.
Yeah.
So what made them significant?
Well, they were influential,
Okay.
less for their political power
Okay.
and more for their religious ideas.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Being at a crossroads of trade routes,
Yeah.
they were exposed to all these different beliefs,
Hmm.
and this might have led to them developing monotheism.
Monotheism. So
The belief in one God.
Okay.
Yeah, and this concept had a huge impact on later religions, like Christianity and Islam, shaping the spiritual landscape of much of the world.
It's incredible to think
I know, right?
that a relatively small group of people could have such a massive impact on history.
Huge.
Not through conquest or empire building, but through the power of their ideas.
Powerful ideas.
Okay, so we've got Mesopotamia, Egypt, Kush, and the Hebrews.
Got 'em.
Up next is Greece.
All right.
And I have a feeling.
Oh, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Those famous philosophers.
You're going to make an appearance.
Yeah, they're about to make an appearance.
Yeah.
So Greece is fascinating.
Oh, it is. Because all their mountains and islands
the geography
led to the rise of all these independent city-states rather than one unified empire.
Oh, exactly.
Which meant that they had a lot of diversity in their government and culture, but also a lot of competition and conflict.
Yeah, there's two sides to every coin.
It's like their geography encouraged both collaboration and rivalry at the same time.
Definitely.
Like you've got Athens, known for its democracy and philosophy, and then you've got Sparta, known for its military prowess.
Total opposites, practically.
So how did that play out in their interactions with each other?
You know, that tension between cooperation and competition, it kind of fueled their political and cultural development.
Okay.
Like, for example, they came together to fight off the Persians.
Right.
But they also engaged in some pretty fierce wars amongst themselves.
So even their infighting, in a way.
Yeah, you could say that.
Helped to push them.
Pushes them forward, yeah.
Talk about making lemonade out of lemons.
That's one way to look at it.
All right. Next up on our ancient civilization list, we got India, China, and Rome.
Big ones.
Let's start with India.
Okay.
A land of immense diversity and spiritual depth.
For sure.
India's geography
it's incredible.
Is just as diverse as its culture.
Yeah.
You've got the towering Himalayas in the north.
Right.
Fertile plains fed by the Indus and Ganges rivers, and then a coastline influenced by the monsoon winds.
The monsoons.
Now, those winds brought much-needed rain for crops.
They did.
But they could also be unpredictable.
Yeah, they could be destructive, too.
And destructive.
Yeah.
This cycle of abundance and uncertainty really influenced Indian religions and philosophies.
For sure.
With many focusing on themes of balance
sentiments
and the cyclical nature of life.
Right. Makes sense.
It's like their environment encouraged them to find a sense of order and meaning within the chaos of nature.
It's a good way to put it.
And speaking of finding order, what about China?
Yeah.
They managed to build one of the longest lasting civilizations.
They did. It's incredible.
In history.
It really is.
What was their secret?
Well, I think part of their success can be attributed to their relative geographic isolation.
Okay.
So you've got natural barriers like the Himalayas, the Gobi Desert, and the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
And that gave them the sense of security and allowed them to develop their own unique culture and political systems.
So it was like they had this strong sense of identity.
Right.
And they weren't as vulnerable.
Right.
To outside invasions.
Not as vulnerable. Yeah.
But they weren't completely cut off, though, right?
No, not at all.
Weren't they part of the Silk Road?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
The Silk Road was this network of trade routes that connected China to the West, bringing in new ideas and technologies.
So there was still some exchange happening.
Oh, yeah.
And let's not forget about their incredible innovation.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like paper, gunpowder, the compass.
Yeah, the compass.
These inventions eventually spread across the globe.
They did.
Changing the course of history.
They changed everything.
It's amazing how something as seemingly simple as paper could have such a profound impact on the world.
It really is amazing.
But before we get lost
and
the wonders of ancient Chinese technology, we got one more civilization to cover.
One more.
Rome. Known for their legions, their laws, and their love of gladiators.
Oh, yeah, the gladiator.
How did geography shape the Roman Empire?
Well, Rome's location in the heart of the Mediterranean Sea was really key to their success. It gave them access to trade routes, resources, and a relatively mild climate.
That makes sense.
So this allowed them to build this vast empire, incorporating all sorts of different cultures and territories.
So they were bringing together a lot of different people under their rule.
Yeah, their expansion wasn't always peaceful, of course.
Right, I was going to say.
But their military prowess and their organizational skills, they were unmatched for centuries.
And they were known for building all these amazing structures. Like roads and aqueducts and impressive structures like the Colosseum.
The Colosseum,
All testaments to their engineering abilities and their desire to leave a lasting legacy.
A lasting legacy,
So from the fertile plains of Mesopotamia to the bustling ports of the Roman Empire, we've seen how geography really laid the foundation for some of history's most influential civilizations.
It's amazing.
But this is just the beginning of our journey. We're about to fast forward a bit and explore how these ancient legacies shaped the medieval and early modern world.
Sounds good.
Buckle up, because things are about to get even more interesting.
I'm ready.
I know you are.
It's a story that's still being written, of course.
It is,
And understanding the past can help us navigate the present. And make more informed choices about the future.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on this epic adventure through time.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with more deep dives.
More deep dives.
Into the fascinating world of history.
Can't wait.
Until then, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Questioning.
Keep questioning.
And keep making history.
That's right.